Rob Snell asks, is there any plan to publish the notebooks? I'd rather have that than any remastered variant cover anything, but I may be the minority. And Matt says, this has come up a few times. I guess I should ask Margaret how many pages there are and how many she's already posted to Amok. But Dave, any plans on publishing things that might not make money? Well, this brings us again to the 2024 Please Hold for Dave Sim Earmark Service FFF Fan Freak Freebie. More finely attuned than a microaggression indictment from human resources. More intrusive than a Facebook privacy setting. GPS compatible, future-proof, able to strike within a paramecium's ingrown toenail of where you live and breathe as a Cerebus fan. What I did when I saw this here, it's like I'm going, okay, well, I can go through chapter and verse of how this works, and then I went, no, this is the new age, the new individual fan-focused Aardvark of Anaheim. So what I did was I came upstairs and I went through the notebooks and I found Albatross #1 and I took it out back. This was, again, one of my trips out back where Rolly's going, I just saw you 5 minutes ago. And I handed the Albatross #1 to Rolly and I said, can you scan this whole thing and take it and the scans to Studio Comic Press and have them do up a facsimile of it. It's a what do you call it? Spiral ring notebook. What do you call those spiral things on the spine? Spiral spine? Notebook? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, just a spiral notebook as far as I know.
Spiral notebook, okay. It's like, it's no high-tech thing. It's, just we'll tell Alfonso to bind it that way, but basically print it in color because it's got a green cover and it's got some watercoloring inside. I don't know if the ink started out as black. Some of the early ink is definitely a bluish color. And just as close as possible, do a facsimile of Albatross #1. And Rob Snell, that's going out to you.
Okay, before she dies, because she already has the scans. But I know Margaret will be like, can I get one of those too? Have Alfonso give you the quote for how much it costs to print one of them, fax it to me, and I will send the money up to pay for a facsimile to send to Margaret.
Okay.
Because
you're getting way ahead of me here. It's this is the facsimile. This was, instead of explaining, okay, this is how this could get complicated, and I'm really not looking for complications in my life. It's like, oh, okay, let's stop it where it isn't complicated, which is a facsimile edition. We're going to send it to Rob, and since this is Rob's idea, he's the one who has actually stood up and said, this is what I want. I don't want the stuff that you're selling. This is what I'm interested in. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna do it with all of the notebooks and send them to you. But we'll start off with one. Then I think we'll also do a version of Albatross 1 that isn't with the coil binding. It's just square bound. And same deal. It's get Studio Comics Press to do one of them. It's a 200-page book. I don't know if it's exactly 200 pages. Margaret counted all of the pages on them, and said, like, notebook number 4 says 140 pages on the front, and there's only 136 pages on it. Well, I tore a page out doing a note for something or whatever, because it was the closest piece of paper that I had. Then we'll send it to Rob, and Rob, you're going to be charged with looking at it and going, it's too light. Like, it's a lined notebook. It's got blue lines and a margin, probably in red, I think. So if there's a balance point in printing it where you could maybe get the ink to look more like the ink actually does on the page, but you could lose the blue lines. Whereas if you capture all the blue lines, the ink is probably going to go a little too dark. It's all Goldilocks spot with digital printing. But Rob Snell, you are our designated Goldilocks.
Make a note of that.
Now, the next stage would be, okay, how many of the Albatross 1 pages has Margaret commented on? I bet you even Margaret doesn't know the answer to that one.
Margaret does know the answer to that one. She keeps a file of what gets posted.
I sincerely apologize, Margaret. I keep forgetting that OCD is not an exaggeration in this case.
Once a year on her, because she posts a notebook pretty much every week. There's a notebook post. Sometimes, like when I go on vacation, she'll post weird stuff because, hey, the boss is away. Her words, not mine. But once a year, she'll do a roundup of, this is everything that's been posted. Here's a link to all the postings in, by notebook of when they were posted, because, she'll skip around, and so that way it'll be, here's the first notebook, here's what's been posted from it, in the order of pages of, because I know page 1 of each notebook I think she was posting for a while, because I asked her, I'm like, what's the first page of the first notebook look like? And so then she was going through notebooks and doing, okay, here's the first page of each one sequentially. But yeah, she does keep track, because also it's the case of if she doesn't keep track, she's going to keep posting the same really neat page again and again and again because it's really neat.
Right. And people's attention spans are, they're not as great as they used to be, and also it's like, well, I'm just looking at this because I find it entertaining. I'm not studying for an exam 6 months from now.
But
so it is. Albatross 1 covers Cerebus 20 to 27. It says right on the front there. So at that point, it's okay. Then we could do a version that has all of Margaret's notes in the front.
Okay.
Or we could say, Margaret, can you write notes on all of the pages in Albatross 1, please? And it's like, at that point, we're really pushing it because we have to remember Margaret has 2 full-time jobs. The one that pays her pretty good bucks and the Boston Bruins, which costs her pretty good bucks. And I don't think she's looking for a 3rd full-time job, which is what this would turn into if she is going to be serving the purposes of Rob Goldilocks Snell.
There's a part of me that thinks that she'd be like, oh yeah, I'll do that, and then a week later going, what did I agree to? And I'll be like, hey, I've been there, lady.
Yeah, and it's also like that's the war between Margaret Liss, middle-aged, we'll say middle-aged. She's not going to argue with that. Time-limited person, and Margaret Liss, OCD Cerebus fan. It's like the OCD Cerebus fan would go, yes, I have to sit down and start doing that right now and write comments on all the pages in Albatross 1 and try and get them done by the end of this weekend. It's like, it's not going to happen, and you're just going to torture yourself. So you have to be very careful with that, Rob, Goldilocks, Snell, that we don't want to be saying to Margaret Liss, Snell, you vermin, Snell.
Well, the other thing I'm thinking is, knowing Margaret, she's going to pivot to Albatross 1 for her notebook post because it fills the need of posting on the blog, and it's, okay, we're just going to go through these files. That's the big one is she constantly is mentioning that she scanned everything, and all it was scan, save, scan, save, scan, save. She wasn't looking at anything really. She was just, because these are historical documents that need to get taken back to Dave as soon as possible. And that's where the notebook posts come in. It's now she's going back, going, oh wow, neat. Oh wow, neat. And oh hey, look at that. And little kid in the candy store. So like I said, it would not surprise me if 2024 every Thursday is the year of the Albatross.
It could be Albatross 1. That also gets into, I don't know what kind of scanner Margaret had or has, and if you just throw it on scan, there are also, as we know with Sean Robinson, there's a million things you can do to enhance the reproduction, which gets into another area of, Dave actually penciled and inked and colored the roach, Captain Cockroach, on this page in the notebook. What does this actually look like in the notebook, and how much clearer can we get it with our technological capabilities? Which then gets into, why don't we do a notebook number 1 hardcover on glossy paper and get Sean Robinson to manipulate everything page after page at $50 an hour? And it's like, well, okay, again, it's I will do the most basic thing, which is what I did today. It's like, Broly, you scan the whole thing, you give it to Alfonso, and it's like Broly right away takes Albatross 1 and gets out one of the stay flats and is figuring out how much it's going to cost to ship. Like, there's a good thought. If you're doing an actual facsimile, it's gonna weigh just about the same that the original did, and by putting it in the stay flat very, very carefully, you could get it in and keep it under 500 grams, which put it at $14 Canadian, which would be roughly $8 US. So we already know how much it's going to cost to ship to people. We're getting good at this.
It literally, I'm having flashbacks to both Janice and Natasha when they were, about 2, and it was every day that you would see the incremental advancement in their intelligence of the kids. You can watch your child learn, and I'm like, we're learning. We figured this out. Like, this is going to be a giant headache in 6 months, or we can figure it out in 5 minutes today.
Right, and or something in between there. But can we all just get a grip and say we want to go closer to 5 minutes than using up everybody's life for the next 2 years? to make sure that we have a Library of Congress worthy Albatross 1 facsimile with complete notes. You know, you can also, like once Rob's got his copy, he can start debating with Margaret online and going, I'm not sure that page actually says that. You know, I've got my magnifying glass out. And then, okay, Rolly, it's up to you to scan it at 1,500 lines per inch instead of 300 lines per inch or whatever it is. So there you go. Okay, that's as much as we're going to spend on that one. Merry Christmas, Rob, Goldilocks, Snell. Watch your mailbox.